Imagine walking into a store you own, only to be treated like you don't belong. That's exactly what happened to a successful black woman when a store manager assumed the worst about her. The moment she stepped inside, his demeanor changed, suspicious stares, rude remarks, and then an outrageous accusation that left her stunned. He refused to believe her claims about owning the store and escalated the situation in the most humiliating way possible. But little did this manager know, he was about to be blindsided by the truth. As the situation spiraled, authorities got involved, and the manager's shocking behavior reached its peak. What happened next left him speechless, and the real identity of this woman turned his arrogance into regret. Stay tuned as we unravel this jaw-dropping story of prejudice, power, and an unforgettable lesson in humility. It all started on what seemed like a normal day. The woman, who had worked tirelessly to build her business from the ground up, decided to visit the store to check on things. She was proud of her accomplishments, but as soon as she walked through the door, she could feel the weight of judgment. The manager, a man who had only been working there for a few months, immediately assumed she was there to cause trouble. Without asking any questions or even acknowledging her, he approached her with a hostile attitude. The tension grew when he began questioning her presence. "Can I help you with something?" he said, his tone dripping with suspicion. She calmly explained she was there to check on her store, but he wasn't having it. He laughed, as if the idea was impossible, and accused her of trespassing. Things quickly escalated, leaving everyone in the store on edge. As the manager continued his aggressive questioning, customers began to stop and stare. The woman, trying to remain composed, calmly told him again that she was the owner of the store, but instead of listening, he smirked and said, "Do you think I'm going to fall for that?" His dismissive tone and refusal to believe her only added fuel to the fire. She could feel the eyes of the other customers on her, some looking confused, others uncomfortable, but no one spoke up. Then, as if to prove his point, the manager called security, claiming she was a threat to the store. The woman's heart raced, but she stayed firm, refusing to leave. "This is my store," she repeated, her voice steady but laced with frustration. The tension was palpable. Even the employees, many of whom knew her, seemed hesitant to step in. What would happen next? Everyone was holding their breath. As security arrived, the air in the store grew heavier with tension. The woman stood her ground, even as the manager loudly described her as an unruly customer and insisted she be removed immediately. Customers whispered among themselves, some recording the scene on their phones, sensing this was no ordinary confrontation. The woman, calm but visibly frustrated, reached for her phone and made a call. "You'll regret this," she told the manager firmly, but he only rolled his eyes, convinced he was in the right. When the police arrived moments later, the situation took an even more dramatic turn. The manager greeted them with confidence, pointing at the woman and repeating his claims that she was trespassing. But instead of backing down, she handed the officers her identification and store documents. The officers' expressions shifted as they read them. Meanwhile, the manager's smug confidence faltered slightly, but he doubled down, insisting there had to be some mistake. The room was silent, everyone waiting to see what would happen next. The officers exchanged glances after reviewing the documents, their demeanor shifting from skepticism to respect. "Ma'am," one of them said, "this does seem to check out. Can you confirm when you acquired the store?" Before she could answer, the manager cut in, his voice raised, claiming it was impossible. "There's no way she owns this place. I've been running this store for months, and I've never seen her before." His frustration was growing, and the confidence he once had now seemed more like desperation. That's when the woman dropped another bombshell. Calmly but firmly, she explained that she was not only the owner of this store, but the head of the entire company. "I was stopping by unannounced to observe operations," she added, her words sending a ripple of shock through the room. The officers looked stunned, but the manager laughed nervously, still unwilling to believe her. The tension in the store grew unbearable, and just as it seemed like the situation couldn't get any more intense, the woman said, "Call the corporate office. They'll confirm everything." The manager's face went pale, and for the first time, he seemed genuinely unsure of what to do. The manager reluctantly grabbed the store phone and dialed the corporate office, his hands trembling as the woman stood silently waiting. The call felt like it lasted forever as the other end picked up. "This is the manager at store 42, he said nervously, explaining the situation and asking for confirmation about the woman's claims. There was a brief pause, and then the voice on the line confirmed, without hesitation, that she was not just the owner of the store, but the CEO of the entire company. The manager's jaw dropped. His face turned bright red as the realization hit him, and the crowd of customers erupted in whispers and shocked gasps. But before he could even begin to stammer out an apology, the woman turned to the officers and said calmly, "I'd like him removed from my property." Her tone was measured, but her authority was undeniable. The officers nodded, escorting the now speechless manager out of the store. Just when it seemed like the drama had ended, the woman turned to the employees and customers. "Thank you for your patience," she said warmly. Then, in a twist no one saw coming, she announced she would be implementing sweeping changes across all stores, ensuring training to prevent incidents like this in the future. The audience was left stunned as she walked out, a quiet but powerful reminder of the strength in standing up for what's right. As the woman stepped outside, the weight of the incident seemed to lift, though the lessons from it remained heavy. Inside, employees exchanged looks of relief, knowing the manager's behavior would no longer be a part of their daily lives. Customers left with more than just their purchases. They carried the story of what they had witnessed, a reminder of how assumptions and prejudice can lead to disastrous outcomes. The woman's decision to address the issue with training and systemic changes left a powerful message. Leadership isn't just about power, it's about responsibility. She turned what could have been a moment of personal vindication into a step toward creating a better workplace for everyone. As she drove away, she couldn't help but smile. She knew the changes she was putting into motion would ripple far beyond this one store. Sometimes, the toughest moments lead to the most important growth.